a good fourth?
I had a great
No, I did not, because I really wanted to
I'm
go see
sorry.
fireworks, and it was rainy.
It was
and,
raining.
Yeah, so we're in Chicago, and it was rainy and wet, and it was. Yeah, I did not have the fourth that I wanted, so that's horrible. But it wasn't what I wanted. But I sure enough still hear all the darn going off.
Oh yeah, it didn't stop them.
fourth. From COVID over. COVID fun's gone.
Well, we hope you all had a good fourth too.
Absolutely.
But tonight we're talking about something pretty interesting. What do women wish men knew about them, and vice versa?
You want to start off or?
Well, for starters, I think that women would probably love for men to know that when we forgive you, first of all, that shit ain't easy all the time. Especially if it's like not the first infraction for the same thing. Like it's a real deep dive to have to find the space to keep forgiving somebody for the same thing. Just,
For the same thing.
yeah.
So are baseball rules in effect? I mean, because you said
3 strikes you're out kind
three
of
strikes.
situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess it depends on the infraction. But I mean, let's just say it's a pet peeve. You're always late for stuff, or
Okay.
but being always late, it may not be that big of a deal if it's not something that's really important. But if you are doing something habitually, inevitably you're gonna be late for something important. And then that's going to be a real issue, because it's like, you don't really care about my time. You don't care about the things that I have to do to be ready to be on time, how I have to juggle. It's just kind of selfish if you're always thinking about yourself and what's important in your day.
Off topic. Being late for me is, it's a problem. I have a huge problem with that, especially when you're not a gangster about it. Like, if you're late for me, but you're on time for white people. That's a huge problem.
You selectively.
Right, you selectively late. So, when you go into the scenario of you don't value my time,
Right.
I'm like, wow, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, because it's like I think you hate me when you late for me.
Well, it does send a fuck you kind of tone
It
to
does.
things. That's how I feel.
A person who is always late, and I have one of my girlfriends is always late, and it's almost like a joke now. But yeah, just for somebody to always be late, it's more than just poor time management. I don't care really about what you're thinking. I'm gonna get there. I'll see you when I get there, and you're gonna accept it. That's how I view it. That's how.
It's a fuck you tone to it.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, it's all about me.
Yeah.
It's my
But
world.
you said forgive somebody. You said for the same things. Like, it is difficult. I've been in that situation where I've had to forgive a person for doing the same thing. And so after a while, you get a little resentful. Like, you're really not, because really, if you're really sorry, then it's changed behavior, right? But if you're not changing your behavior, you're not really sorry. So again, goes back to the fuck you tone,
Right?
So
Right.
it's I don't really care what you're thinking. So then the relationship starts to disintegrate.
Yeah. Just say sorry, not sorry. Don't say just I'm sorry.
Or tell the truth. I'm sorry you're mad.
So yeah, I think
That part.
it is forgiving someone. It really isn't difficult if you feel like that person is truly sorry and it's going to change their behavior. Like, I can forgive you easily, but if I find myself, if I give you another chance, and then another chance after that, and you keep doing the same thing, or you still haven't changed your behavior, or you haven't tried to make amends, yeah,
So
I'm mentally moving away from you.
Yeah.
You may not know it, but yeah.
So you start to hear the song,
Which one?
you need to cut it.
You know that's.
It's true. The disconnect does happen. It
I
happens.
saw this meme on social media that said, women will on expiration dates, and they were like, this nigga will be in her mind, she's like, okay, he has until August 31st. And he's out here like washing his car, doing things, hanging out with his
She
boys.
like,
And and women will be thinking you're on the clock. And it's so true. Because we will be thinking, yeah, you really got until my birthday or until Christmas or until
Arbor Day.
the end, until the end of the month.
You made a really good point, because that is probably, I mean, the point is this. Women probably would love for men to understand that when we give you that second chance, third chance, whatever it is, and we say we need changed behavior, you need to do better, we are looking for action. That's the real thing, that we probably want you to know that you are on limited or borrowed time,
Right.
that the clock is ticking. Because you all sometimes navigate life like, okay, it's over, we're moving on, and you don't remember yesterday. And like you hear, you don't like anybody bringing up the past. Here we go. All right.
I don't know any man.
I don't think that that's a fair assessment of my feelings. My feelings are this: I only want to argue or discuss
One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. And women, I'll give you all. You all have this innate ability to argue multiple things at the same time, and I don't have the bandwidth for it.
So let me say this. That's another point. I think, I know, let me just be very clear because words have power. Women really want men to know that points, but we will reach back into the vault to support our case. Because if you keep messing up,
It's applicable.
if you keep messing up,
Why
then
y'all sound like some lawyers?
we will go. When you said at 1:37 p.m. that you were going to do X, Y, Z, and you didn't.
But if it wasn't
So,
another
yeah.
infraction about the same thing,
So
she would have to
if
go back to the
it's a
vault.
similar situation, we will reference said. So women do have the ability.
But
to
I
do
mean,
that.
you already gave myself when it happened.
I'm forgetting myself.
I mean,
Gary, you do too, though. Point and reference. You don't like people to be late. If you were in that relationship, and I already know, when you think about late, you think about missing a flight. You think about $7,000. You think about down the drain. So if you were still in that relationship and that person was late, I promise you, you'd be like, oh, hell no. Nope. You would go back in the vault and be like, you owe me $7,000 now. Because first of all, you was just like,
I don't know that you would say you owe me $7,000.
But I mean, it's all the resentment.
You would all of those feelings would
Yes,
come back.
would
They
come back.
resurface.
I mean, at that point, I would pull a Kim and I would just disconnect. We're done. You need to cut it.
you would cut it, but you're going to have your say.
I mean, first of all, you all know this about me. I'm not an arguer. So at the point in which you repeat a behavior, then at that point I'm like, okay, let me just bow out of this. Let me just be gone.
You will probably be gone, but I doubt you're going to be like, well, I'm going to be gone, and she won't know why I'm gone.
But I mean, and that's to that point, I wish that men or women knew about men that we don't generally like to argue, because for men, an argument in my world, speaking for myself, in my world, an argument is the preliminaries for a fight. I mean, we can say something, we can agree to disagree, but eventually one of us is going to say, or one of us should say or do something to escalate it to the level of a fight.
No woman in her right mind is going to try, and at least the women we know, physically fight.
An argument, because I can't do what comes.
You have
Agreement.
We can agree.
naturally to you.
We can agree.
When you're talking to a woman, that comes naturally to you. It does
And
not.
I'm sitting there thinking
You're
I
not
could
even
choke
that
this.
You are not
I'm
even
not.
that
I'm not
You
serious.
are not.
I'm not that. But I don't like to argue. It's pointless to me. I mean, we can have a philosophical difference. You see it this way. I see it that way.
So let me just interject here and just say this.
Mm-hmm.
I understand and I support you saying I don't like to argue, because I'm just going to fill in a blank here. That messes with your peace. Home should be peaceful. Point made, point taken.
She's setting me up.
I'm just going to make the counterpoint here. We also feel like we want peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
But us discussing something is not necessarily in our minds an argument. You all take things very defensively. If it's something that's not copacetic, if it's not smooth, if it's something that you feel like you have to explain, you are already on defense and you're already feeling like you're being attacked, and then it becomes an argument because you shut down, you don't want to talk about it really, you're being kind of maybe snarky, sarcastic, yeah, what point you're trying to make, it's too many points, stay on track, I can't, all of that. So our peace comes from resolve. This is what we need to feel at peace. I tell you that you did something,
And you agree.
and not necessarily,
Okay.
but inevitably I like for you to agree. But yeah, I tell you that you did something. You listen quietly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out, and then you have a response about what we're talking about. Not a deflection, not getting upset, leaving the room, not none of that. Just listening and say, you know what, my bad. I'm sorry. Then we all are at peace again. But that's difficult for a lot of men. It's difficult for some women to say, I'm sorry. Mostly in a relationship with a man, it's just difficult. I don't know why. It's hard. And what happens is now our whole central nervous system is like, it's like we stuck our finger in a socket because you are dismissing and discounting what we're telling you that hurt us.
But I'm doing it to protect you.
No, you're not. You're doing it so that you can continue to watch whatever's on TV or go back to TikTok or whatever it is you want to do. Play your solitaire on your iPad, whatever it is. And what we want is for you to listen and say, my bad, I'm sorry, babe. Then everything is cool.
I want to be clear about something.
But mean it, not just say it.
I want to be clear about one thing. I'm okay with agreeing to disagree. And I'm going to own the stuff that I did. If I did it, I did it. I'm sorry.
See, that right there, I'm sorry. That's kind of
that
like.
was for TV.
No, but you're looking at me.
That was for TV.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
Are you happy, Gina?
Right.
Damn.
Martin.
No, I'm gonna say I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize, and I legitimately am going to try to get better. Or I'm gonna say I'm not sorry, and you can pretty much expect that all the time. And that's what I'm gonna say.
Now, how does a relationship work when you tell somebody I'm sorry and you can expect this all the time? How does that?
No.
How does that work for peace
Those
in
are
your
separate
household?
things. If I'm sorry, I'm gonna try not to do it again. Or if I'm not sorry, this is expected behavior. This is what you're gonna get out of me. This is the best that it does.
Why not just break up if you just are gonna navigate a relationship like you just gonna?
If breaking up is on the table, then let's do that. But this was this was a philosophical difference. So you're saying that, hey, I saw it this way. I'm saying I didn't. But breaking up is another level. Is this something that you can't get past? Is this something that you can't learn to deal with?
It's okay if you say, if I tell you I saw it this way and you say, well, I didn't see it that way. But what most people are trying to get you to understand is you didn't see it that way, but could you see what I'm saying? Do you understand how I could feel that way based off of A, B, and C? And you don't have to say, it's okay to say I didn't do it intentionally. But to say like, well, this is the best you're going to get.
No. There's going to be sarcasm. I'm going to tell you, I believe that you believe that.
Vania, calm girl.
Oh, name. We can name names. We can name names. Oh, we can name names.
So that brings me to another point. When women wish men knew that communication is an integral. It is the root of a relationship.
Absolutely.
Without it, there is no relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have communication, and then you have to have trust. And so we want
And understanding of grace.
we want these things consistently. So I would like, men to know consistency matters. Whenever I see on socials and people are like, "What's the one men to know? What do you guys prioritize?" I see so many people saying consistency, and I understand that. So don't begin something, start me with a vibe that you can't maintain. Be consistent. Be consistent with your gestures, your displays of affection,
Yeah,
your consideration.
good point.
Be consistent with it. Don't start here and then wane off and we don't know what's happened. Be consistent. So
We
the
also
level,
want to know who you really are. If you this way and that way, we don't know the patterns. You know what I mean? We don't know. I like to say, well, if someone said, "Well, Kim did this," and I was like, "No, she didn't. That's not her." I would like to know that about my mate as well. I would.
Did we turn it off?
We did,
Okay, just us to
I hear it.
Yeah.
but it might be them first.
Okay.
But nobody wants to guess of how their person is going to think or respond about something.
Right.
You want to know your person. And yes, consistency is important because without that, you aren't going to learn each other.
I'm not arguing against consistency at all. I understand it. I lead a very ordinal life. So I things 1+1=2. So I get that. I really truly understand that. One of the things that I wish that women understood, not necessarily knew, but understood, is that most men don't operate in the emotional realm. So, we operate in the, hey, let's get it done. What does it take? Women have a great sense of detail orientation, and they tend to operate much better in the emotional realm because they're more familiar being there. And men are, I will hurt you, I will kill you, I want to beat you, I must defeat you. That's.
You don't think that's emotions?
It's not driven by emotion. I mean, there's a very physical part of that. We play competition sports. Women grow up playing. Some women, let me say, grow up playing with dolls. They're learning to to have empathy, to be caregivers, to do all of these sort of things. And the emotional realm is just different in terms of how we are raised and how we operate and process in our everyday lives.
So back to your point, I'm trying to just really understand this. You're saying we operate from emotions, and you all operate from physical violence. What is it that you're saying? If it's not emotional, what is it?
Not necessarily physical. I mean, not necessarily like violence. I mean, that's the outer extreme of physical. But the physical, I mean, like men have a thing with each other in terms of, man. I mean, at some point, it's not that I can't beat you or I don't want to beat you. It's just like I'm not going to put the time and effort. So I'm going to step back away from that because even if I win, I lose, and if I lose, obviously I lose. So things don't go to the physical. But the physical is the first part. I mean, the things that you do as a man to another man, you like. I mean, you have to beat his ass. I can do that.
So what are you telling us that you wish women understood about this scenario? Because I'm still a little lost.
That women operate far better in the emotional realm, and men, it's they're usually dragged over into the emotional realm, kicking and screaming.
Okay.
I agree with that. Took you a little while to get there, but I agree with
You
that.
took the long route.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. You got lost.
Yeah, I agree.
When y'all start using big words, I get confused.
Yeah, many men, and I'm not saying I'm not making a blanket statement, but I do agree that many men avoid emotional conversations. I do think we're good at that, and I don't like when men avoid the conversations, because that's where the growth is. You can't have all flowers and fluff. You have to have the uncomfortable conversations.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's just that. I mean, it's very natural for women to have those uncomfortable conversations because you probably discussed it with your girlfriends. you know, I have some really great friends that are guys, but it would be very hard for me to, you know, to have like, you know, like, hey nah, look, you know, man, no, we can't. It's just not. I'm not saying never, ever, 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 but it's hard to really be vulnerable to your friends sometimes. And your good friends, yeah, they do know all your stuff, but we don't have as many outlets, and it's far less natural. Somebody has to be like your number one guy since third grade that you can share that with, or you could, you know, you could come to him on a level like, man, you know, do you think I was wrong? Because men, you know, are not gonna allow themselves to be corrected by people that they don't love or that they don't trust, and it's not or respect. It's just not gonna happen like that. So it's tough. It's real tough.
I like to say something about the uncomfortable conversations, and men shying away from it. So I once was in right, and she told me that you need to make sure that just because you're ready to have a conversation, you can't impose that need on somebody else. And so, especially if it is a comfortable conversation and you really want them to be available, you need to get permission to have that conversation. So you ask them, do you mind if we schedule a conversation? I'd like to talk to you about some important things. Then they're processing and they can get their mind ready to have a deep conversation and whatever they need to do during the day to get there, that's what they do. And when they come to you, they're ready to be vulnerable and honest.
And when you say important, you know, that lets me know that, you know, hey, there's a chance that we won't break up after this, but in order for us to do this, this is important to me.
Right.
Or I see this as important to us.
That
And
was
see,
one of the
I
takeaways.
wouldn't want somebody to tell me when you get home, or we need to talk. Because I would be like, what can we talk now? Right. Which sounds like
What's the first
I would
letter?
be like the whole day. I'd be thinking, well, what does he want to talk about? You know,
It doesn't have to be that day, but literally getting on
Yeah,
somebody's schedule. When are you available for this? Because it may not be today. I may have had a hard day. I can't do this. I don't have it. No capacity. I'm done.
Or you're too close to the situation. I want to take some time to get my thoughts together. I want to present this in a way that, yes, it is important to me, but also I don't want to come off as attacking or, you know, too demonstrative. I want to be able to talk about this intelligently because it's important.
I want to be fair. I want to have compassion. And at the end of the day, this is what I feel like women also need for men to understand is that when you argue or when we're squawking, that's really not what it is. Women should at least be having this conversation with resolve in your mind, not to just go back and forth and be debating and arguing all night. We really want resolve. And so we use this word sorry a lot, like maybe we're looking for an apology or I apologize or I'm sorry. But you see, those words don't mean anything if remorse is not attached to it. Remorse is the thing that says if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't do it the same way. And it also gives us the sense of security that we won't have to revisit this and we will not have to go back in the vault that Kenny talked about earlier, back in the crates. On this day,
Look,
here's
she's
the
getting
document.
excited.
Right. It's true. If you are
I see
remorseful,
you.
then it doesn't happen.
right.
Yeah. If you're just saying sorry, is that how you do it, Gary? Sorry.
That was not my intonation. It was
That
a
kinda
little bit
was
more
how
than
you did.
that, but okay.
Sorry, right?
But it's you know, I would tell you all this story, but you laughed at me the last time I told you because you mentioned fighting fair, and you're gonna laugh. It's not in you not to laugh. Okay, there you go.
What you do?
No, but that's the advice that I counsel married couples.
Oh my God.
Say it again.
I know you. I could depend on you. I
Gary,
can depend on you.
Gary.
Yes. But I mean, that's the things. Fight fair. always date.
What married couple is coming to you for?
Everybody that I've ever married, I make them do counseling with me.
And we talk about three things.
That's it. You do those three things, you're gonna be all right. I knew you couldn't hold it. I knew it.
I'm right on the bandwagon with that one because this one blows me.
No, but you know,
most
You-
most
you-
married counselors have been married.
you kind of, but you did look down. You know what I'm saying? Kim looked me right in the face like.
I fell over, but most married counselors have been married. They are talking from a place of experience,
Yeah, but I mean, you know,
not a world class
therapy.
international dater.
Yeah, and I can tell you that maybe I'm giving it to him from a how not to perspective. Never thought about that.
So women want men to understand
That's
that,
exactly
Right.
why I don't understand how
that you can't joke all the time. No.
It's not. I'm not joking about that, but I mean, I take what I do. For those of you all who don't know, I am an ordained minister, and I am also a licensed officiant, and I've married dozens of people over the years. And anyone that I marry, any couple that I marry, I make sure that we do counseling before I complete the ceremony. You did so well, Kim. We're all very proud of you. we're so proud of you.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Okay. Back to the topic.
But it's, you know, finding fair is so important, and I wish that, you know, both sexes and women know that some things you can't undo. You know,
That's so true. That's a really good point.
It is.
Clock it.
because
It's not Pac-Man.
You did do this, didn't you?
but you know, because I mean, in an argument or in a fight, you know, our feelings get involved, and then we want to hurt without physically hurting. But we say, you know, like, and then you let your mama stay with us, and you know, it's like, whoa.
Right.
We talked about that. You were cool with it.
Right.
I only did it because you know, like, oh Lord, now the truth comes out. So, fighting fair is so important, and not doing something that you can't undo. Because once you put something out there that's so bad, it's like, I'm gonna forgive you. You know, I ain't trying to be homeless right now, but as soon as I get my money together, I'm out of here. As soon as I get my bonus check, I'm gone. So it's you know, that level, and I mean, women, in my opinion, are definitely more demonstrative in arguments, and they will stoop to, you know, they want to have that got you, and they will say some stuff, and it's just stuff that you can say that I never will like or respect you anymore. I may still be with you. You know, what you said or what you did.
Yeah, you wounded.
Yeah, you did exactly what you set out to do.
Yeah. My mother would always say that you have to be very careful what you say to people because it's spells you just can't unring. And they will hear that shit in their head forever and ever and ever. You can't mistreat a woman while she's pregnant. You can't, I mean, it's just things that you just, it's times in life that you cannot,
When people are vulnerable.
absolutely, you can't do it.
Or because you are privy to things, you can't use that information to your advantage when there is a moment of, you know, whatever. You can't just, you know, because you know some stuff. That's the whole thing about being a mate, is that we keep each other's secrets. And I protect you. So how am I protecting you if I'm going to use that against you?
Absolutely. What we're talking about right now, I think what goes hand in hand with that is grace, right? And with maturity, I think we learn grace. And we also need to, in relationships, I think we also need to pick our poison. You can't
Argue
debate
about
everything, right? You have to, is this even worth it, right? Am I doing this because, you know, I want resolve? Well, it's not a problem unless I bring it up at this point. Those are the things that you do have to say there. Everything doesn't have to be discussed. And here's the thing about grace, though. you should give it, right? But there's also an element of when people are taking advantage of you giving grace.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have to use
Sure.
discernment to say, okay, now, when do I draw a line? You know what I mean? Have I given too much? Because the behavior pattern that I'm looking for to change hasn't.
And certain things are upper, but that's different than leaving the front door open. And if I'm getting the same response for something, and I mean, you know, we've had the whole conversation that I've dated black women and it's impossible for them to fall in, blah, 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 blah. But if I'm getting the same response for leaving the door open, which is a real issue, a very real issue,
It is.
and something I should have never done, and something that I need to be trying to get better at every day. The toilet
You
seat.
actually did that? Leaving the front door unlocked?
Mhm.
Okay. Look, as a girl, I mean, not in college.
3 months ago.
Last week for me. It was an accident, but I did it.
But I mean, here's my thing. I feel, you know, and I'm not explaining it away, but you know, man, I can be. That's the one thing as anal as I can be about everything else. That's one of the things that I can do pretty regularly.
Oh wow.
And when you're demonstrative, or even if it's performative on your part at that point, I get it. I earned that. But you know, again, leaving the toilet seat up. Man, I mean, what you gonna do next week when I do it again? I mean, I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to, and I heard you the first 13 times you said it, and I'm trying to get better. And I caught myself the other day, I didn't even say nothing.
But that's not a safety issue.
The
No one-
toilet isn't, but the door is.
The door,
Right,
and
that's what I'm
I'm acknowledging that I'm wrong for the door, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that the reaction
Yeah.
Shouldn't be the
was-
same.
Right.
it cannot
Because
be
the
the same.
infractions aren't the same.
Yeah, exactly,
The consequences aren't the same.
exactly.
So it shouldn't be the same reaction. If your mate is giving you the same reaction, there's some resentment that
Yeah,
needs
they're
to be
fed up.
discussed. There's something else.
Yeah, they're disconnected.
There's underlying
Yeah.
resentment.
When a woman
So-
is gone.
So which goes back to communication.
Mhm.
Because we only have underlying resentment if we're not being heard. Like if you mess up from whether it's the door to cheating, if we can't have a conversation,
Mhm.
then there's nothing.
Right.
If you're hiding from me that you lost your job or you have erectile dysfunction or
Yeah,
you're sick.
the ED will be pretty evident.
No, not. It won't be evident when you first start dating.
Oh, okay.
So if you're hiding things from your partner or a person that you want to be your partner because you can't communicate, because you're not ready to have that conversation, then you're not ready for a relationship.
Yeah, I
You're
mean
not
that's that's something that you have to communicate certain things.
You do.
And you have to,
You do.
going back to the original conversation of uncomfortable conversations, some of them you need to have. And, it's surprising because a lot of times, in my experience as a man, women will work with you on a lot of stuff.
And a lot of things.
A lot
very
of
true.
things. But you have to put that out there. And, what in my current relationship, we started off and it was just like, hey, this is what it is. Deal with it or don't. And that put us so high
That's good.
that we are always able to communicate. And it's like, hey, this, that, the other. And there's no level or any place to like, well, I'm gonna keep this one to myself. It's like, hey, this is what you're dealing with.
And I like that because you've always said that your level of communication with her is spectacular. You always said that. You guys, you're like, oh, I can tell her anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's wonderful.
I think that's the makings for forever.
I think another thing that I wish that more women knew, because some women, a lot of women hold men to a standard of perfection, and that's fine. But Jesus was the last one that was perfect, and everybody else after them kept his daddy with a job. So, and I mean, a lot of times, and I mean, men and women do this. They hold the person to that level of perfection, but you ain't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not even like near perfect. You know, you like just you. And to hold another person to that level of perfection, or to even have perfection as more than a idealized goal, I don't think that's really realistic. And I wish that women didn't do that, or women knew how much that is infuriating for men.
I'm gonna tell you something that I think that women find infuriating, since we're talking about infuriating. Women feel like if they're out with you
Mm-hmm.
and you're around people that you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, if you like, I knew that was gonna happen. I was trying to tell you that earlier, but you were talking. I was like, oh, if you are so busy doing your thing, working a room, and you just never check in,
Mm-hmm.
and you act like they don't exist, and you know what I mean, you just kind of like, oh yeah, you we roll together. I'll just take you home. That that's a real turnoff. If you can't act like you all are together but still doing your own thing, that's like, I don't know. It feels very dismissive and performative, like pretend kind of situation. But I don't know if men understand that, because you all could get busy doing, dapping
Wait,
it
so
up with
if
everybody.
you roll together and the
Oh,
man
we're,
is
we're going, we're going, we're going to. Let's say it's I don't know, somebody's party,
Uh-huh.
but it's all of our friends. We all know each other.
Right.
I wouldn't expect for you to be up under me like, a piece of lint, but I would expect for you to act like you know me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
It's funny that you say this. We're going finish.
no, I've made the point.
It's funny that you say this because I mean in my life I know a lot of people. I'll say that.
Just a few.
You know, different
Thousand.
people.
Million.
No. But within that, in the context of a dating relationship, and I mean we just really went through this, where I would intentionally come back and check in, like, hey, how are you doing? And I mean it was an SIU event.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, I'm quasi working.
Right.
I'm
You're
working the
Mr.
room.
Saluki.
Yeah, and I mean, people are talking to me about all sorts of things. So
Mhm.
I'm getting pulled in every different direction. Everybody wants something. There was new students with parents that I knew. I'm introducing them to the chancellor. There were, people that I worked with on different boards there. So I got all of this going, and here's my girl. She knows no one. So it was kind of like, I was like, hey, are you okay?
She just did it.
She's like, well, you don't have to check on me like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. But we also went to, it was crazy because the next event that we went to, and you all know that I always overcorrect. So the next event that we went to was our friend from SIU, his birthday party.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So within that, we're not supposed to say names.
My bad.
Time out.
I was thinking, what are you doing?
So within that, we go to the next event, and so man, I come in. When I come in, I say hi to everybody as we're going to our seats,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just sit there, and she's like,
What are you doing?
you're not moving around. Aren't those your friends over there? I'm like, I know everybody here, but I'm good.
But you weren't sarcastically doing this, were you?
Not to my knowledge.
Because I have to find out with
What do
you.
you mean not to your knowledge?
I mean,
Did you genuinely want to sit there with her, or
Yeah.
did you? Oh,
Yeah, I genuinely wanted to be there.
okay. Sit there by her side.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and we
All
were
right.
having
And it
fun.
wasn't sarcastically.
Yeah, no, it
done.
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. But it was an overcorrection from her, from me just being all around the room,
Mhm.
to being like, oh no, I'm chilling. If you see the waitress, tell her to come here. Blah 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 blah
Okay.
blah.
All right.
So it's when a person is, I mean, like, you all are both very popular ladies, so it's gonna be hard if we're at the right place. Y'all gonna know 40 to 50% of the people that are there. All of them are gonna want a piece of you. fill me in. Where have you been? Tell me about Delta. Tell me about AKA.
So
What's going
here's
on
the
with
thing,
this?
Gary. Everybody, I was on the golf course with my boyfriend the other day. He met an alpha from SIU. I think that's how it went. I don't know who the guy was, but your name came up, and he was like, "Everybody knows Gary. He's world renowned, right?" And this just happened.
He's what?
World renowned. Yeah. So this just happened the other day, right? Everybody. This is what he says, right? And so I'm thinking, like, okay, if someone's in a relationship with you, they already know that Gary's going to be working the room, hugging old people, kissing babies, shaking hands. That's you, Gary. So I would imagine that you work in the room is not going to be something that is like terribly like, oh my God, he's doing that again. No, because that's you. But you not coming back and checking in to make sure you're good, or come on, let's get a quick dance. Let me just ingratiate you in this whole thing. Let me introduce you to some of these people. Something. You know what I mean? That could be an issue. So you have to figure out how to like blend those two worlds sometimes. I could see that. Right?
I'm learning.
Right.
And it's, everybody in theory, I mean, I don't hide from who I was or who I'm becoming even. But within that, everybody says, like, I'm like, hey, we go out, I'm going to have a lot of people that I know, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's like, oh, I'm cool, I can deal with it, blah, 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 blah. Almost to a person, it has been a problem. Every single time. Everybody said, oh, no, it's not going to be a problem. I know what I'm dealing with. Yeah, you're the funny guy. Everybody likes you, blah, 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 blah. And then when they deal with it, it's different.
Yeah, but it's not, what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean you get to ignore the person that you're there with.
I'm not.
Doesn't mean you get to be like, oh, I forgot. I
Right.
brought you. My bad.
You ready? I've talked to everyone.
Right, you ready to go? What?
No, that's not, that's not what I'm saying here. But I'm saying that in my case specifically, and I'm not bragging or anything like that, but I do know a lot of people. And a lot of times I'm in situations where I am working a room for whatever reason. And it's in theory, we can talk through it, we can talk about it, but almost every time it's been an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time.
Well, I just feel like, you could have the best of both worlds. All you just have to do is just like, hey, this is my girl, this.
I'm working at it as we speak. I'm definitely trying to get better at it, and man, I'm going out with somebody that I need to get better at.
When we drag her out to places and she's like, yeah, like, I'm not gonna remember 5 names that I've met out of these 500, because, but it's nice. You wouldn't leave her off in a corner like, oh. You know what I mean? She'll be gone. I'd be like trying to Uber home. You got to just blend both worlds. A woman doesn't want to feel like you've forgotten about her, at the same time, you could still be,
I get
GH
that.
doing this thing.
I get that.
All right, Kim's looking at her watch. 18, so she's ready to wrap it up. Well, we beat that one to a horse, but I'm sure stuff we didn't remember or to think about. So if you guys want to chime in and tell us what women want their men to know and vice versa, please do. It could be a whole nother.
We always want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Drop your comments in the comments.
Whole nother episode, part 2. Let us know.
Yeah, we need to do some part 2s anyway. So this is your big chance. If you're feeling strong, let us know.
Not your big chance.
Your big one. You're gonna do your big one on this.
All right, guys, we appreciate you. Make sure you go over to TikTok and follow us on that page so we can go live from that platform too. As Gary says, waka waka waka. Right?
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
I got this one.
Thank you.